In the Garden Warfare series, there's a lot of different animations your character can do. From basic little idle animations, to shooting animations, to taunts, all these different things that give life to the game. But a lot of these animations are normally unseen by the player, and some of them are completely unused. So today I'm going to be looking at a good portion of unused animations that are left over in Garden Warfare 2. So the main focus of this video is mainly going to be the playable classes in the game, so we're going to start off with the ones that are in Garden Warfare 2. So Citron doesn't have any unused animations, so we're going to move straight on to Korn, and we're going to talk about his old walk cycle. So if you look in early footage of Garden Warfare 2, Korn has more of a distinct animation for his walk cycle that's very different to the one that we have now. Now if you look on screen you can see how it used to be, and my assumption is this got removed because it didn't make the moving from shooting to walking very smooth, so they changed it up so he just fluently went into those animations instead of like chopping into it maybe. I don't know, it's all speculation, but you can see here this is how he would have walked. So unlike Korn having some animations from an older version of the game that we've never played, Rose has some animations that are still left over in the files but can't be seen normally. This is mainly for the Gertify ability, and if you change the spawn animation time from 0 to 2, you can see that the zombies would originally pop into being a Gert. You can see on screen how it would look. This was removed before the game came out, but still is accessible by just changing some files. So next I'm going to talk about these together because they're all basically the same thing, and that's the old Garden Warfare 1 taunts. Not the ones that are in the game, but the ones that didn't return. Because even though they're not accessible in the game, there's been many instances where in-game and also in trailers for PopCap stuff, you can see these emotes being used. Stuff like the wave emote for the sunflower, an emote for the soldiers used in one of the cutscenes, along with an emote for the chomper is used in a cutscene as well. There's been Garden Warfare 1 emotes that returned later on that were used in trailers at launch as well, which is quite strange. So there's a lot of instances of these emotes being used and probably available to use in the game, but we just don't know how to access them. Now I'm going to talk about the Sunflower's unused jump animation, or more so replace jump animation. Now if you want to see this for yourself, you can load up the first Garden Warfare and just jump as Sunflower because it is the exact same. They originally had the animation in Garden Warfare 2 at launch, but then removed it in place for what we have now, which is a lot more smooth, and honestly a lot better. Torchwood has an unused animation as well. This one's more of a slap animation. I got footage of this years ago, so I'm not aware how I accessed this, but you can see on screen this is what it looks like. So now we're going to move on to the zombies side, which have a lot more interesting stuff than the plants. So first we're going to talk about Imp, who has quite a lot of unused animations across both Z-Mech and Imp himself. And first we're going to talk about the sprint tackle animation. So this can be accessed in game by just giving Imp a version of sprint tackle, any will work, and giving it specifically to the basic Z-Mech. I don't know if it works for the Z7 mech too, I'm not really too sure, but you can see on screen it's just a basic tackle. But this gets a lot more interesting than just a sprint tackle, because it turns out this also has different versions of the animation depending on what direction the Imp is moving. If you look on screen, as I move backwards and left and right, it has different animations, which means this could have been more than just a tackle and more like a dodge. Along with this, there's also an old mech death animation that was used in early footage of the game. You can see on screen this is how it looked. Imp would just collapse and then the mech would die. It was removed later on in place of just the mech exploding instead. It's probably just to speed things up, so Imp is dead. Imp comes back in like 3 seconds. So keeping on the topic of Z-Mechs, the Scavwag mech has a unique animation that sometimes plays when you do a taunt. So normally you do something that's very similar to the Deadbeard emote, but this one has him falling over. I'll show it on screen now. To get this you just have to like do the taunt and sometimes it will play. It's kind of like a little Easter egg that no one's really talked about, so I guess this is kind of a fun fact and also kind of a bit of unused, unseen content. So now on to Imp himself. He has an unused animation that is very similar to what his sprint animation is in BFN. As you can see on screen, this is what it looks like. Now if you're a modder and you want to access this animation for yourself, it is a special mode with the value of 2, so hopefully that will help you get the animation in game if you want to use this for a tackle of some kind or a dash. anything really, it should hopefully work. Let me know and I'll try and help you out if it doesn't. Now I'm going to talk about Super Brains' unused animations, because he actually has two in the game. So first of all, this is the one that's a bit more infamous, and it is his charge animation. This can be accessed by using one of All-Star's primary weapons on Super Brains, and if you look on screen, it has him charging up before what seems like he's trying to fire a laser from his chest perhaps. So along with this animation, there's another one where it's a slightly different version of the Turbo Twister. If you look on screen, it's a version where Super Brains is actually tucking his arms in, instead of leaving them out to spin. This is once again obtained if you use the sprint tackle on Super Brains. Now we're going to talk about the Foot Soldier, who has a very odd animation that can be accessed when you use Burrow on him. If you look on screen, it's a bit scuffed, but this is the animation, I guess. There's not really much to talk about here, but that's an unused animation in the game. Now, I talked about this in an older video before, which is Scientist ZPG animation. If you look on screen, you can see him firing the ZPG. This is once again accessed by just giving Scientist a ZPG. Once again, there's not really much to say about this animation, so I'm just going to show you it, and we're going to move on. The Engineer class has multiple unused animations. The first one is RodyZ's Reload. Once again, this is covered in my older video. If you give RodyZ the ability to reload his weapon by giving him proper ammo, you will see this animation when he reloads. This was probably made because he was meant to be an ammo character before, until they turned him into an overheat. I'm not really too sure. Maybe this would have been like an overheat animation as well. Along with this, he does have another unused animation, and this is for the Zombot drone. So if you played the first game, you'll know that Engineer used to have a drone before it was replaced with a big bolt blaster. And in Garden Warfare 2, he was meant to have an animation where he could just control it. How it works is he pulls out a little joystick and he sits there and he controls it as you fly your drone around. This animation was accessible in older builds of the game by just using the drone, but was later removed in some unknown update, along with the joystick and its textures. But they never actually removed the animation for this, so if you go inside of Engineer's weapon file for his Engineer drone, and you find the special mode and you change the value to 24, you will get this animation in game. Along with this, if you import the joystick model from Garden Warfare 1 into the second game and put it in Engineer's file, you'll be able to also have that show up in the animation too. The All-Star has an unused weapon that also comes with an unused animation. It's called All-Star Jump. Now this is used by the AI in case they get stuck maybe in the ground or something. They do a super jump so they can get out. If you look on screen here, I've froze the animation to show you. You can see he kind of rides his gun and then he launches in the air. These little jump things aren't really used in Garden Warfare 2, but they are used in Garden Warfare 1 quite often. So yeah, that's All-Star Jump. Let's move on to the next class. So finally, for the main classes of the game, the Hovergoat has an unused taunt that's accessible if you give him a third taunt in the menu. If you look on screen here, this is the taunt, and funnily enough this was later reused for just an idle animation for the goat, so it's not really unused, but if you give yourself a third taunt in the goat, you can use it. So as a little bit of a bonus, I'm going to go through 3 unused animations that are available for different AI in the game. So first of all is the Robo Zombie. This guy's kind of infamous as being that one AI that should have been playable but isn't, and he has an unused animation where he can fire 2 rockets from his backpack. I'll show it on screen now. Along with this, the boss Torchwood has his own ability where he can charge at zombies. This normally goes completely unused in the game though, so technically this animation is completely unused, but I'll show what it looks like on screen now. So finally, for the little bonuses, I'm going to talk about the Super Beam Reload animation. I'm not aware of how I managed to get this in game, but it is some sort of reload animation for the Super Beam. You can see on screen now how it looks. This isn't really much, but it is pretty interesting nonetheless. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If there is any animations that I left out, please let me know, and I might make another video covering them. Once again, if you did enjoy the video, feel free to leave a like, maybe subscribe if you want to. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one.